The lunch rush at Bellmere House went silent when manager Preston Vale slapped a termination form onto the host stand and ordered Harper to hand over her apron. Harper stared at the paper while Preston announced that people like her were replaceable. Then she removed her name tag, set it beside the form, pointed toward the entrance, and said the words that froze the restaurant. "You're right about one thing, Preston. Someone is leaving today, but it isn't me. This restaurant is mine." Before we reveal why Harper spent months serving tables inside a restaurant she secretly owned, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Loyal Hearts. Stories like this remind us that dignity can survive humiliation. And tell us where you're watching from today, your city, state, or country. We love seeing how far these stories travel. 6 months earlier, Harper Winslow entered Bellmere House through the kitchen door wearing a plain white shirt, black apron, and cheap shoes that hurt by closing time. None of the staff knew her late father had built the restaurant 23 years earlier, from a failing roadside cafe. Harper had grown up doing homework in its booths, watching him treat dishwashers with the same respect he gave wealthy guests. After his death, ownership passed to Harper, but grief kept her away while operations were handed to Preston, a polished manager whose reports showed rising profits. Then anonymous messages reached Harper describing stolen tips, unpaid hours, intimidation, and employees fired for speaking up. Instead of arriving as the owner and giving everyone time to behave differently, she decided to learn the truth from the bottom. For months, Harper carried plates, wiped tables, refilled glasses, and listened. She watched Preston flatter rich customers while humiliating workers. A widowed dishwasher named Delia Cross lost shifts after refusing unpaid hours. A young busser, Kellen Reed, was blamed for a broken wine display a guest had caused. Harper soon discovered portions of large party gratuities were disappearing before reaching the staff. Small amounts on individual checks had become thousands of dollars taken from workers who needed every tip. Harper copied payroll records, photographed altered schedules, collected statements, and sent everything to an independent auditor. She wanted to reveal herself, but she needed proof no one could dismiss. The hardest moment came on a rainy evening when Harper found Delia crying behind the kitchen because her electricity had been shut off after 2 shortened paychecks. Harper nearly told her everything. Instead, she arranged anonymous help. Days later, Kellen came to work sick because he feared losing his job. Preston mocked him for it. Harper sent Kellen home and covered his work, earning a warning for insubordination. That night, she remembered her father's favorite lesson. A restaurant is not the building or bank account. It is the people who walk through its doors carrying their hopes with them. Bellmere House still carried his dream, but under Preston it had forgotten his values. The confrontation came on a bright Saturday afternoon. A family celebrating a 50th anniversary had waited nearly an hour because Preston had understaffed the floor to cut costs. When their meal arrived cold, he blamed Harper in front of everyone. Harper calmly explained that she had warned him to slow new seating until the kitchen recovered. Preston's face hardened. He accused her of challenging authority, called her ungrateful, and said 100 waitresses would gladly replace her. Then he pulled out a termination form prepared in advance. Several employees lowered their eyes. Public firings were how Preston kept everyone afraid. Harper looked toward Delia, then Kellen, then the cooks and servers behind them. Her fear disappeared. She placed her name tag on the stand and told Preston that he was the one leaving. He laughed, certain she was bluffing. Then Harper reached into her apron and removed a document bearing the Bellmere hospitality seal. At that moment, company attorney Marin Holt and auditor Gideon Shaw entered through the front doors. Preston's smile vanished. Harper explained that she owned Bellmere House and had been working anonymously to investigate complaints against him. In a steady voice, she listed missing gratuities, altered time records, retaliatory schedules, false reports, and suspicious vendor payments. Preston tried to interrupt, but Harper never shouted. She simply pointed toward the door and informed him that his authority had been revoked and his access disabled while the evidence was turned over for formal review. The man who had spent months making workers feel powerless suddenly stood alone beneath the eyes of everyone he had intimidated. But Harper did not celebrate. She walked straight to Delia and apologized. Tears filled her eyes as she admitted that proving everything had taken longer than she wanted, and that good people had suffered while she waited. Delia put down her tray and hugged her. Kellen joined them, followed by several servers. Harper finally understood that ownership was not power. It was responsibility. Having her name on legal papers meant nothing if the people inside the restaurant did not feel protected. Over the following weeks, missing gratuities were repaid, wage errors corrected, and workers gained predictable schedules, paid sick time, and a confidential way to report mistreatment. Delia moved into a staff support role. Kellen entered a culinary scholarship program created in Harper's father's memory. Harper turned the executive office into a staff break room. Months later, a new employee asked why the owner still wore a waitress apron several days a week. Harper smiled and said she never wanted to forget what the restaurant looked like from the side of the person carrying the tray. Bellmere House became stronger, but Harper cared more about another change. People no longer came to work afraid. Former employees returned, and customers noticed that the people serving them could finally breathe. If Harper's story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness still matters, leave a comment and subscribe to Loyal Hearts. Every interaction helps stories about courage, dignity, and second chances reach someone who may need them. Special request, comment. Respect is the real measure of power. If you believe no job title gives anyone the right to humiliate another human being. That afternoon, Harper pointed at the door and revealed that the restaurant was hers. But the deeper lesson was this: ownership is not proven by whose name appears on the papers. It is proven by who protects the people behind the doors. Harper could have demanded respect as an owner. Instead, she earned it beside the workers who had been denied it, and in doing so, she restored more than a restaurant. She restored dignity.